y'all can get it on. Usually it pop up.
Right.
What's up, y'all? We back for another episode of PoliticKen. I'm excited because this is the anniversary show.
Congratulations.
I know, man. 2 years has been flying. It's crazy how fast time flies when you're having fun, huh? So I got some returning guests from my first episode joining me today, so that's even more exciting. So I'm just going to quickly go around the table and say who's joining me today. I have my homegirl, sis, volleyball sister-in-life, Jack at the table. What's going on?
I'm here.
Yeah, people don't know that Jackie be in these streets doing her thing, okay? I'm telling you, real plug. You want to know a real plug?
I appreciate
Here's
that.
one.
I appreciate that.
Got my youngin' at the table, Miss Dana. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Dana actually joined us on the first episode. She was the first youth spotlight to hit the PoliticKen stage, and I'm so glad to have her back to see how far she's come. She was taking a gap year back then. I want to know all about what's been going on in between time. I also have a new friend in life, Renee, who actually has been a great supporter of PoliticKen, and she really makes me excited because it's one thing to have people in your corner that you already know, you grew up around, but to have somebody who you may not know reach out and tell you how well you're doing and telling you about how they want to be involved, and I'm like, I got to get girls to the table.
Yes,
okay?
new friends. Yes,
so,
new
hello.
friends. New friends.
So glad to have you joining the PoliticKen table, Renee. And last but not least, my cousin, always supporting. We had one show, technical difficulties, but you back in action. Omar, good to see you per usual, man.
Appreciate it.
And so today, it's the anniversary show, and I say that to say that we're trying to see how far we come. When I first shot PoliticKen in July of 2017, we talked a lot about the state of Detroit, not even realizing how far we would get to at this point, right? I mean, since 2017, it was stuff going on then, don't get me wrong, but now we're at a space where we really see it booming and popping in the city. And I just kind of want to reflect because, one, it is the anniversary, and I'm going to be off. Y'all know next weekend my birthday. Woo, get no. But yes, and I'm going to be off. And so I wanted to use this weekend to really highlight how far we've come. And I kind of just want to get y'all opinions on the state of Detroit, good or bad. How y'all feeling right now?
I can kick it off. I believe the first episode I said we had work to do.
Yeah.
That was my sentiments, actually. But I share something different now because I see the change. I'm in the city. I see what's going on, and I think it's a good change. I think it's been a good improvement because overall what's been taking place has been a shift in mindset, a shift in consciousness, and the overall collective thinking patterns of our citizens of Detroit has changed.
Yeah.
And we can see that. We see it. The people we talk to, we could just tell they're different. And so I think that's good because everything starts from the mindset first. So that's been the biggest thing for me because last time I said we needed work to do because the platform that you created, it was such a small group of people who's thinking like that. Now we have more people talking about the same thing. So I was like, I think we're in a better light. We still got work to do, but it's been an improvement. So.
It's better than what we thought it was,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
Right. And I want to revisit this question, but I kind of want to get on everybody. How y'all feeling? State of Detroit, good or bad?
Well, this is a hard question for me, Ken, because we often talk about a tale of two cities, a tale of two Detroits. So on one end, you see good, down in Midtown, but, in other neighborhoods and other places, there hasn't been this revitalization that we keep hearing in this conversation. And so it's a little bittersweet for me because I live near 6 Mile McNichol, and, there's so much expansion going on. And, I'm starting to see the businesses prosper. And I don't know, I'm the type that always worry about the ones that are underserved. And so I just want this revitalization to boom out to all 139 square miles of this beautiful city because, it's kind of, some of us feel kind of bittersweet. We see the boom and then some of us are like, nothing's happening. This isn't the Detroit for us. They feel left out. So it's kind of a, touchy subject. It's a, you want to say yes and then you want to say no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think what both of you said, it's a bittersweet thing, and I think a lot of times a lot of people just see improvement when they see white people, and it's like so I think different.
The bell is on the table for things that we agree with and think should be highlighted.
Okay. And I also think like the way the city looks matters a lot. So if things are cleaned up and if things look nice, like this building looks nice, and so like, oh, this is good, you know. And I think you know, people can be so visual in that way and also ignore. A lot of things could just be a lipstick on a pig, and like not be. So I also feel like I've met white people who are doing amazing things in the city. Then I like meet a black person who's been doing that for like 20 years.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know. Yes. Like I said, there's like a lot of times it takes a white person to do that. But I think that, I mean, that's just the way we are right now. And hopefully like my kids won't have to deal with that. Yeah. But I feel like the white people should approach it like, okay, I'm coming into your space, and if I'm trying to do the same work you've been doing for 20 years, I should talk to you, and I should help you get through this door, because I can get through doors that you can't. And I feel like once we start seeing that, then it can be a little bit more healthy. But also just being in Ann Arbor for like the past year, I'm not home as much, but yeah, it's been interesting, like to go back and like come for concerts and bring my friends who are from New York. And like I think also when you're from Detroit, you just have to defend yourself a lot, like as far as it's like defending inferiority or like defending poverty. But like one of my friends was from New York, and he was just like, oh, Detroit's booming right now, and I never seen it this way. And I was just like, It was like I ain't saying nothing back. I was just like, you know. That's something to think about.
It's interesting to see how other people see the city.
I don't want us to get off the topic.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna be long because you guys pretty much hit on every single thing. But working in like policy and government, seeing the way that Detroit is functioning right now, I don't feel like we as one millennials and two African Americans are being included in conversations. And that is one of my goals while I'm working in that realm, is to try and bring us into the spaces, because we have a vision and we know what we want to see. And so like I just want us to be a part of the conversation. And I think that's where a lot of the things that are happening in Midtown, in the Corktown, all that stuff like that, we're being excluded. And so it's not going to branch out into the other neighborhoods for that reason, because we're not being included. They only want to clean up where they're going to be. Yeah. So that's why I think, like I said, us being in one elected positions, or even if not being in elected positions, going to those meetings and writing your suggestions down. We do take those, we do read them, they do get considered. So all that stuff makes a huge difference. And so as we continue to grow, and as Omar said, we have work to do, we need to be a part of the work.
Yeah, and I would say, I mean, it's not often I give my feedback on the show, but for the anniversary show, I feel, I have to like say something. I think the city is going down a decent direction. I kind of feel where you're coming from, though, Dana, around this idea, because, I mean, I work in the nonprofit sector, so I see the dollars that get transit through this city. Like, we ain't broke. I don't care what nobody said. Detroit not broke, and money fake now anyway. So what is the dollar to fund certain things that matter? But I do see a disconnect in the people with the monetary goods. Like being able to have that financial capability to make things happen, right? And that's what we kind of lack. On the black side, I feel like for a long time we didn't have the capital or the assets or access to make things happen. But now it's so readily available. Why aren't we being included? And I think sometimes, just to play devil's advocate, sometimes we have to be proactive. I think a lot of times we sit back and we wait thinking somebody gonna come knock on our door, and that's just not the way it's gonna happen, right? And so I find myself, stepping out there and trying to do stuff. Let me bring this project to my community. Let me, connect with some people to see if I can revitalize some stuff going on. And I think that not only do the people coming into the city need to be more neighbor-like, because you are coming into someone else's environment. And then granted, there are some white folks that just feel comfortable now. They've been in the city. They just haven't felt comfortable in the city because they people left. But now with everybody moving back in and Detroit being on that boom, and not only us seeing it, but people outside of the city seeing it, like, we got to step it up too. So a lot of times, like you were saying, we didn't see it back then. We didn't know what was going on. Like,
I had no
It's some black folks doing some work in the city. I'ma just throw that out there, and they're doing it well in certain neighborhoods, but they're not the ones on the news.
Channel 4,
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not what's being highlighted. But when we know, we need to uplift that, and then we need to take those models to our own communities. Because I'm right on 6 Mile too, okay? And I'm over there right now trying to shuck a job. Like, I'm about to bring this revitalization over here. You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of in that gray area. But I do think it's more positive than not. I just think that it needs to trickle down a little bit more.
Yeah, before we go to the subject real quick, I just want to say something. Like Ken and I had a conversation like years ago. We was in the back porch of when I stayed in Oak Park. We had a conversation. We was talking about just the overall state of our people and awakening. Because we was like, what's it gonna take? I was like, don't worry, because it's gonna happen. Right. Yeah,
because always know how they motivate.
and then so like years pass, and we see that, and again, like, it starts with the mindset, and like, we have to just stop waiting on help.
Yeah,
that's what it is for me. Like, I'm 34 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, I see the new Detroit, but I've always been here. You know what I'm saying? I graduated and came back. So I've seen the dichotomy. I've seen the transitions. I've seen all of that. But we got to stop waiting on help.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you go through the city and you see all that land and all the opportunity. It's just sitting there.
Yeah.
And it's
what you waiting on? You know what I'm saying? Like, but it takes the mindset to see, like, that's an asset, though.
Yeah.
It takes the mindset to see, like, damn, we can actually do something with that.
Yeah, I think
it's been there for years. But, you know what I'm saying? So I think, and that's a positive. It's just the mindset shift of the overall city has changed. And that's the starting element to real change. That's what I feel like.
I think access and education is also a reason why we're not seeing us like attack those things and know what that access to capital means. So like for me, I try to spread what I can to people that I know, like, hey, like Kenya, for example, I know you have a nonprofit. Like, here are some events that you can go to where they're giving away money, and people have no idea or don't even have access to the information. And so it starts with that one person. Yes, give me your email after this. And so, like, I just want that to always be the thing. Like, we have to constantly be educating each other. Like, we know this is what we want to do, but a lot of people don't know how to do it. And so having people in your corner that's like, oh, yeah, we'll go down to the Detroit Land Bank and they can do this, or go down to the city and go to this agency and they can do this. Go to, you know what I mean? Go to your congressperson. They can do this. There's so many avenues that we don't know because, like you said, we're just waiting on somebody to come to our door and say, here's $10,000, let's revitalize the neighborhood. And it's never going to be that way. For us specifically, we have to go out and find it, and we have to work to get what it is that we want. Nothing is ever going to be given to us, and that education piece is so important. And I didn't realize it until I got into this realm of work.
That's usually when you get it. You be sitting at the table like
all this money, $3 million.
Yes.
And I'm all for helping like anybody that I can in any capacity. Like, I want everybody to win.
And I think there's like I think there is this kind of idea that we're crabs in a barrel, especially black young millennials, that we don't want to work together. And that could be so far from the truth. There's so many like resources that we're doing. Like, look what Ken does, look what you do, connecting policy and grassroots organizing. And so I work a lot in transit organizing, and a lot of these resources we can't get to, right? Mobility is a key access point to us getting this information out there. A lot of people want to know the information, and I think, people say, black people, they're young millennials, they don't want to know. They do want to know. It's out there, but it's just about connecting those dots. Yes, where can we go? And first off, how we're going to get there. And then there's this kind of smoke and mirrors thing that happens with, like, and I hate to say Midtown versus everybody, but that's what it kind of turns up into the media, right? For instance, in working in transit, like, I catch the bus, I don't have a car, but let you tell it, the Q line saved us all, like Shinola. And it's like, it's so far from the truth, And so I'm all about creating like sustainable communities. And so, like I said, there's so much, we have access to land, food, water, we want to build community gardens, get, vacant lots by, working together. And like you say, we have to find the gatekeepers, the people that have that access to that information.
And go ahead, Dana.
I was just talking about this when someone asked me, did I feel prepared at Michigan? And I was like, And I was just like in class, and I was realizing like my education really like failed me, and it was just because it was like having a poverty mindset and not being able to know that, oh, I can get this information and I can get this and I can get that. Like I don't know, like when you were just talking about, and when you were talking about like just other people telling me like, oh, you can get money for that and you should not be paying anything and you should do this, you should do that. And I think sometimes it's like you ignore it and then people are like, oh, well, you got a 3.6 your first semester, you good. And I was like, no, I didn't even know I needed to do this. I didn't even know I needed to do that, you know. And it's like learning and knowing, like now in that space, like I got connected to one of the, like a really good professor at school, and like we just talk. She's not even my professor, and we just talk. I just go to her office hours, and she was like, oh, don't you need an internship? You should do the scholarship that pays for you to have an apartment with this internship, you know. And I was just like, whoa, I didn't even know that that was even an option, but they easily can give me $5,000 for a summer, you know. And I just, but I wouldn't even thought of that. I would have naturally, and I think there's like some good to it too, because like having this poverty mindset is like there's a natural hustle, like if you want it. Because I was just like, I was just gonna hustle and try to find out some way to do some GoFundMe's, like, you know, get away, sell, you know. I was gonna do something else, but now all I gotta do is write a paper. A bit, you know what I mean? So like it's just that education of knowing like this is how it is. And it's like, even it's not even just what we're learning in school, it's just like how are we learning it and where are we learning it? Because like those were like subliminal messages I feel like I was getting fed, and just now going to Michigan and like they got Porsches and Maseratis just to have them, you know what I mean? Like, and it's just, it's ridiculous.
And it's so crazy because almost every episode of PoliticKen, the word access comes up. Access and education. For me though, just always playing devil's advocate, why is it so hard to access a lot of things? Like, you gotta go through 30 hoops to even get to the point where you even know that this exists. And then you gotta go through another few hoops to get it, to actually have it tangible. And so for me, it's like, we gotta make this easier for people. And I mean, when we talk about, because even in the new conversation, like everybody like, all right, let's get off race in the city and start talking about equity. Which I'm technically for, because I get it. All right, everybody's scared of the, you know, we don't want to be black and white no more. We want to talk about something that matters. But even with equity, we talk about access. But when you talk about access, we have to create the ability for people to make it accessible. And some stuff that people think is considered accessible, like for instance, they like, oh, well, we putting everything into these apps and we doing everything with computerized, but we not even realizing that the Detroit is a digital divide. Depending on where you at in the city, you may not even have access to internet or anything that's going to get you to the point that you can actually access these things. So it's just, for me, it's rethinking what access looks like for people, because a lot of times when we use these terms and words, we only looking at one group. We're not really looking at the broad picture of the people who might not fall into those groups of people that we're thinking about, you know, even outside of the millennials, or even thinking outside of, you know, people who are in certain neighborhoods or whatever. But there is a whole group of people that are often left out of the conversation, not just because that they don't want to be involved, but it's literally because nobody is finding innovative ways to tap into those groups. And I think that that's another conversation that needs to be had. That's and so just shifting gears a little bit, what is Detroit doing well right now? Are there highlights? Like, are there things that you could be like, you know what, the city is on point with this right now?
I think branding. I'll say brand. The city of Detroit has for a very long time been known as a poverty-stricken, crime-ridden city, and I think that I would like to congratulate and acknowledge Mayor Duggan for taking that away, or making an effort to take that away. So every single thing that he's doing is always highlighting something big and better that's taken over something, or an area that may have been poverty-stricken or may have been crime-ridden. Like, all of these things, he's taking it and trying to push something positive. So, for example, Little Caesars Arena. Everybody wanted the Pistons back downtown. Dan Gilbert, Mike Duggan, they all made that happen. The Illiches, they all made it happen,
well,
right?
I don't know. I hear you, but there's some deadlines.
No, there is some negatives. Okay, there's definitely negatives, but if we're talking about
on the Illiches to wake up a little bit, but I see what you
like.
What you're
but
saying.
if we're just talking about positive image, I think that the mayor has doing nothing but projecting more new growth, and I think that is something that the city is doing very well. Is just bringing together new and projecting that into the media so that people are not like, oh my God, I don't want to go to Detroit, or I'm scared. Like you said, people from school, like, I don't know if I want to go. I might get shot. It's like, no, that's not the case. Like, grow up.
Yeah.
No, I want to piggyback off that. I agree with you actually, in terms of the brand of Detroit, because I mean, like, I'm always thinking in terms of business. That's how my mind goes. So like, as far as from a business aspect, Detroit is like competing. You know what I'm saying, as a destination.
Right.
You know, like, downtown is becoming a hot spot for interaction and new restaurants. It's becoming more of an attractive city, which I can appreciate, because at one point downtown was a ghost town. You know, and not to get into the politics of that, but we are competing as far as, okay, let's check out Detroit. Detroit doing some interesting things. Let's go check it out. Like, even just seeing people ride around in on birds and Lime scooters. Like, you know, I was in Austin, Texas a few months ago, and it resembled the same thing. And Austin is known for its startup scene and things like that. So it resembled a thriving American city, which I can appreciate. You know, I can appreciate the efforts to like remove the stigma from the city. You know, granted, we got work to do, but from a person who's born and raised in Detroit, I like to see that. I love to see that H&M coming downtown. Granted, I know how people feel about H&M. But every major city has one, right? Shouldn't we look like one? Like, so I can appreciate our city looking like it has value. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of the bottom line and the money play that goes behind that, it looks good. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I can appreciate that. I'm a person who cares about marketing, so it looks good. You know, but we got work to do. But I just like our city to seem like we're contemporary. We're now like an old city that's been abandoned and we playing catch up. Like, no, like we competing, like we look like we belong, you know. So and I can appreciate that. I can appreciate the money that's coming here, because the money that comes here will inevitably be opportunity for people to tap into that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, down the line. So.
And I'm really happy because, like you say, people are excited about Detroit. And I want us to know, it's kind of, again, I'm always playing devil's advocate like him. Detroit is really a Wakanda right now.
Oh, man.
I mean, people don't realize that we have so much land that, and I live in a hood, that so many people from different cultures, from different countries are coming over here, and they're like, they want the land. We have so much space compared to other cities, you know, and then there's urban agriculture, right?
Yes.
Like this
And
urban
people have
farming. No idea. You know, we complain, oh, there's only McDonald's is on the corner, but no, people are getting their, you know, vegetables, they are farming, they're, you know, creating viable communities in their backyard. And so people are looking to us, you know, to see, okay, what is Detroit doing? And, you know, we're talking about what we are doing good. I look at Detroit hives and they're, you know, preserving the bees and things like that, things that I would have never thought of as a child. You know, look what we have so much access to. You know, if we create our own communities that are vibrant and, you know, that sustains us. And like I said, in mobility, I'm a Mogo bike share ambassador. And so, you know, my grandma gets scared. She's like, oh, those bikes, these e-bikes, they're coming to the hood. I'm like, yeah, grandma, they come in the Livernois. And we often talk about gentrification, but I want us to kind of, yes, there, you know, we want development, and we know when black and brown communities are displaced, that's problematic. But I deserve to walk outside my house, go to Detroit Sips, go to a coffee shop, hop on that bike if I, you know, don't have a car or don't want to use my car. We deserve nice things. And so I think, you know, when we talk about neighborhoods that are getting excited, they're going to feel, you know, as valuable. They're going to get that equitable, you know, and they're going to get that access that we want them to have.
They deserve nice things.
I like that too. I think a lot of times, like, we gloss over the fact that even though gentrification is a real thing, there are certain things that you want out of that.
Yes.
It's just about who's gentrifying. And I keep trying to change that mindset. Like, I remember one day, and I think I brought this up on another show, because I was so blown back that these older women, black
you were
women.
posting on Facebook.
I didn't mean to. I never post on Facebook for these reasons. But somebody had asked about how we felt about the gentrification. And for the first time, I'm like, all right, can you just, you know, tell your opinion? I'm like, you know, I'm not really anti it. I was like, I just honestly have an opinion about, it's a difference when you're the one being the gentrifier.
Yeah.
And I know that if I was to come in my neighborhood and started to develop, because I am considered a community developer, my neighborhood wouldn't be gentrified in the way that it's being gentrified here in Midtown. I know that for a fact. Because when you go into a mindset based on your own experience and you have some heart or attachment to a community, you're going to do things differently. And the fact is, most of the people who are gentrifying have nothing connected to the people in which they are gentrifying those neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like, I want my neighborhood to look like Midtown too.
Mhm.
I want a queue line on 6 Mile in Southfield that I can hop off and get off at Teresa's, go in, give me some chicken, hop
and
back
keep
on,
going.
go up to Livernois to the new club. That's like, I want that too. But what does that look like, right? And so I totally agree. I think we have to get out of the mindset that sometimes it's just language, and sometimes we have to challenge the language and start being the ones that are in control of the narrative.
Right.
You know.
That was good.
I think some things that Detroit is doing well is like reusing things. Like even just this building, like Detroit Safety Company. My mom told me what exactly it does, and I was like, that's dope.
Yeah.
And like even I've been in some buildings that are closer to downtown and Midtown too, that are like, oh, this is all made out of this. You know, this is all. I think that's a really good thing, and I think like with branding, but I think it's also just creating its own brand. And I have hope that in this space that all these different people are coming, that we'll be okay, and we'll be able to like combine and do things. I remember during Black Restaurant Week, I was at River Bistro on Grand River, and this Asian couple walked in, and I was like, what they doing here? And then I heard them talking, and they just bought a house in Rosedale, and I was just like, oh, okay, you know. And it was like it made me feel good on the inside. Rosedale is really nice, but you know, it's like I live over there, but it's still that made me feel good too. So I think it's a good space to have where like different ethnicities can be represented. Also with population and also with power. So yeah, I feel like there's a potential for that space, like what was created in like all the economy and like the way everything looks.
I'm so happy that she's here. You know, I don't find a lot of Wolverines that I like, but go green, go white.
Hello.
But I think it's so important to have a young person here who is like, I know we're all pretty young, but like I said, I graduated 10 years ago. I came back to my home city, and I just like the blight just got depressing, and I wasn't being active in the community. And here you are, and that's what we are doing right. Like we have young people who aren't scared to go knock on a door. You know, they're smarter, they're hipper, they know how to, you know, use their connects. And so I think it's so important to have so many different voices, you know, in Detroit, and where we used to like shun away, you know, or the old people or the young people and vice versa, and now there's a mixture of every intergenerational voices being heard. So
And it's crazy because the next question I got for y'all are where are the direct challenges in the city and how we're facing them. And that's mine. Like I feel like we're doing that right because we have young people that are stepping up and being able to voice their opinion and having strong, you know, beliefs and values that they can stand on. I remember when I was helping out some students with Grow Detroit's Young Talent, and so I got to interact with them a lot, but it was just a simple fact. One of the students, I'm like, what y'all want to do? He talking about buying land. He talking about farming. You know, like the fact that they're even thinking like that, because I wasn't thinking like that in high school. Yeah, I started probably thinking like that as I got older, and I started to realize, like, you know, this is a need. I need to be able to feed myself. But thinking about that in high school, you know what I'm saying? And I want to kind of pick y'all brains around, you know, the challenges. But this space of education, I really believe that it's a challenge, but it's also a space for opportunity in the education system. When we're thinking about public schooling, you know, we do got a lot of charter schools, so I'll be having to play the fence a little bit. But really getting these young folks to think differently and encouraging them to be their own, you know, their own providers, like actually being able to be at the table to say, I got the power to do what I want to do, but also making it where the work that they're doing makes them want to be in this city. Because I know for a lot of us, the first thing we wanted to do when we graduated was leave.
Bye.
I'm out. But now I'm finding that the more these young people feel encouraged, they might want to leave, but they really want to have a stake in the city because they see it coming back now. But I want them to believe that they can do more than just be a user of the things coming into the city. You can be an owner in this city. You can be a creator in this city now. It's so easy to do so because I see the young white kids doing it.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And they white millennials are owning things. And I'm just like, where is our building? You know what I'm saying? So for y'all, where do y'all think the direct challenges are that we're facing right now in the city? And if you got something quick that you think we can overcome it, share.
I think just to piggyback with that, like I had this professor who I'm really close to at school, and he I would just go to his office hours just because, and he would be like, because he would say nobody comes, only the people come during papers, and so I would come when we didn't have a paper, and so he was just talking to him, and I told him, like, out of everybody I grew up with, I'm the only one in college. And he was like, wow, I'm so proud of you, and this. But like talking to my friends now, and it's like, they're not bad. You know what I mean? They're doing what they want to do. And it's like, and it's not necessarily like a bad path, but I think that's like, it's not good. You know, like I always, every time I come home, it's like, oh my God, here we go. Cause I know everybody about to be on me. And like, oh, how's Michigan? How's this? I'm so proud of you. And I'm like, I recognize that, and I thank you for that. But like, go ask what's the name, how they're doing, you know, and go ask and how they just graduated from that program in cosmetology school. You know, like go talk about that, because that's like, that's not valued. You know what I mean? Like we always talk about we need trades and this, but when they graduate from trade school, nobody's like happy. But when I get a full ride at a university, it's like, it's a good thing. It's just also a good thing, but like some people, that's not for everybody. You know, and I think like that's always preached, but it's never executed. You know, it always comes to the mouth, but it's never with the full body. You know what I mean? Like it's always like it's not consistent. And I think and also like it's had me to be like, the way that I think about myself has changed, just the way that people view me, because I'm from Detroit and I got this and I got that and I did this and I did that. And I think that complex and like survivor's guilt kind of thing, that complex is really interesting. And like even just how you interact with people. Like, do I even want to change? Do I want to come back and have to deal with like different people? And it's just like, leave me alone. I'm just here. I'm chilling. You know, like I'm struggling. Like I'm a 19-year-old struggling, and that's how it is. You know what I mean? But like it's not the same when it comes to my peers, and it like disgusts me, and it's really like, it's really annoying.
Can I piggyback off that actually? So again, working in policy, my boss has talked a lot about skilled trades, and I know for me, I was one of those people who was like, oh, who would want to be a plumber or an electrician? Like, I'm supposed to go to school. Moral of the story, 4 years, I'm supposed to go to school, get an education, and have access that way. But going to different events and seeing people and hearing that there are electricians and welders who are making well over 6 figures, and people have no idea that they have access to free training.
Because they need that now. They sent 3 of us into school.
Free training. And then people will say like, oh, there are no jobs in the city. And that's always the thing, like, oh, we don't have any jobs here. But there are potential jobs that are being sent away because there are no people here who access or who are capable of the skills that are required in order for the jobs to be had. Like, and that's just it. That's just it. Like they're not telling us like, hey, we need welders, but also, by the way, here's a free class where you can get trained and also receive money while you're in training. And then once you get out of training, we're gonna make sure we place you with the job. But who knows that? Nobody. And so that we will always continue to be behind until we are told and find or go and seek out this access that we keep talking about. It's there, and people want a job, and I'm tired, I don't have no money, I need a job, I need a job. It's no jobs here. There are plenty. But like you said, there's that like self-doubt of, I don't want my friends to look at me differently because I didn't go to Michigan, I didn't go to Michigan State, I don't have a 4-year degree, I'm just a welder. Okay, but you're a welder who's about to be up on a line somewhere making $250,000.
Probably gonna have that debt.
And no student loan debt that your friends with 4-year degrees have. Because I know me personally, I have both an undergraduate and a master's degree and $90,000 in student loan debt.
I think I could tap you.
And it's like, why? Why when I can go somewhere, especially if I'm a person where school was not for me anyway, and there are so many other ways for people to be successful, and it does not have to equate with a degree.
Yes. And I think also, like, in order to build like a strong economic black community, like if you go, a Jewish homeowner is going to go to a Jewish plumber, even if it's if it's a white plumber on the street, you know, they're going to call somebody that they know. And so how are we going to have any black plumbers for our black homeowners if we don't have any black plumbers? You know, and it's like that, people are like, that's shown, you're going to do that, because it's like, it's so there's so much pressure on the black community to do things, you know, like you got to get this scholarship, you got to pick yourself up by your own bootstraps, and not just like we haven't been able to exist, you know, like just exist.
Yes.
And that's something I'm learning with myself. Like, okay, I know that I've always just been this person that does this and strive for this, but like last school year, I didn't do anything. I didn't do no advocacy. I said I'm just gonna be an 18-year-old, 19-year-old in college, and that's just what I am. And I'm not. I have to remind myself sometimes that I am a 19-year-old in college versus I'm a black girl at this white school. You know, because it's like I don't have the obligation to talk to you, and then sometimes in class if they're talking about something, I'm like, I gotta go. Bye. I can't. Not today. I'm not educating y'all today. I don't feel like it.
And you're not
and like
responsible.
I'm not
to
right, and that's just. But you know, white people told me that.
Yes.
White people told me that. You know, and that's just like being able to be like that's that communication I was talking about. Like white people being like, hey, you're here. You're about to go to mission. You're about to do this. Let me talk to you. You know, and that having those resources and those conversations, like cross conversations. I mean, and like that's so important.
What about y'all? Where y'all think
So,
the challenges
I
exist?
mean, like, I can go down a rabbit hole.
We ain't got
you
no
know,
rabbit hole time.
We don't. So like, I want to go a little left with the challenge. I feel like one
Go
of the
into your mic.
challenges. One of the challenges that we are facing is not having certain allies to go back to the community and tell what's going on in the midtowns and the downtowns and like be able to like relay that message. Or for example, we had Startup Week here. What was it, 2-3 weeks ago?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
I was a part of that. I did the design and the signage and the branding of that event, which was dope. I was glad to get the opportunity. But then I still saw what I felt I was going to see, which was not enough of us there, right? And I'm going to just say because, like, the marketing company that that was responsible, they wasn't a part of the community. I just believe it like that. So it's like, how do you speak to a community that you're not a part of? You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like a Startup Week event for people that's celebrating entrepreneurship and like providing value and information and resources for people who want to go into entrepreneurship, we all should have been there. You know what I'm saying? Like we all got ideas, but like it felt so like exclusive and like private. If you're not working for Quicken or you in that area, you
Wasn't
don't know
it free?
about it. It was free,
It was
right?
free.
And this year they even had a music component where they talked about the music industry and how you can monetize your platform using like crypto and stuff like that. Like things like we need to hear about.
Right.
But why didn't we hear about it though? Like because they don't know how to tap into that community. They don't know how to speak to us. They might not even feel like we need to know that type of information. But I find that challenging because we need to hear that information, but because we in a certain area, we get shunned from the info. So I think that's the challenge is like, how do all this good shit that's going on over here convert over there? How does it get over there? Who's getting it over there? You know what I'm saying? And it takes allies, you know, like a person who's in government, a person who's in venture capital to go back and like, hey, y'all know y'all can, like all y'all gotta do is go fill out the application and they give you free money to do this, or like we don't have those allies. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's the challenge. I think it's the connectivity. Like, how do you connect to that community? You know,
How does Detroit connect to West Bloomfield?
Yeah, it's like how do all this money is get made over here connect over there? Like, how do you speak to them?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a language thing. Like, how do
Or
you
even
just,
a smaller level, like how does the stuff going on in downtown hit my neighborhood? Over on 6th and Southfield.
how do
like,
we know about it?
Where's
You know
the
what I'm saying?
flyer?
Are you scared to go?
Right.
Are you scared to go over there?
Where's
or you
my
don't have
text
anybody
message?
who knows corporate and street to convey that message to over there? But like, it's a disconnect. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
And
like,
even making a flyer that takes people attention. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you
yeah.
study that. You go to school for 4 years to study how to do that. you
yeah,
know?
my
But it's
thing
like-
is like, this is an 85% black city, right?
Right.
Why is that not reflected in like the attendees? Why we don't see that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's a disconnect somewhere, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it just takes some people in certain offices to be able to know how to talk in the boardroom and then go to the hood, and be like, yo, this is what we need. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't have that. We don't have like that liaison. You know what I'm saying?
And Ken, you often talk about accountability and holding our elected officials accountable, and it's kind of getting to the point where I'm even thinking about running for office because I don't want to be the person that sit back and just complain. You know, but this is why I think going to community meetings is so important, so crucial. I see, you know, older black women going and they're like, hey, come over here, let me help me. I know you're good with a smartphone. And, you know, they're going to one day leave here. So, I know for me, I want to leave the future in a better place, when I leave. And so I think that we're going to have to go back grassroots, go knocking on some doors, go to, tell our friends we're good now with social media and branding. We need to be letting people know that, yes, it seems boring and like nothing's going to change. I know my aunt's like, when did this bike lane get here? And I'm like, if you would have went to one of the community meetings, you would have known. And so much is happening. And I know people feel like, well, I go to these meetings and I talk to these politicians and it just feels like nothing's getting done. But no, go and talk. Yes, it might not get done. However, they're going to have to hear us out. They're going to have to hear what we want to say and things like that.
I think one thing about that people may not know, as far as like how things work, is that when we like have these community meetings and town halls and things like that, and people voice their like concerns and opinions and ask questions, like that is the fabric of how our offices function. Like we can't know as an office that there is an issue if people don't tell us. So those meetings are very helpful. We as staff are there taking notes. Obviously, the elected official is trying to be engaged, but that's our job to take down that question and follow up with that individual and say, can you tell me a little bit more, or what specifically is it that you need? Because sometimes we may not be the office for you, but we can direct you somewhere. And I think that is one of the things that I love about my colleagues and my bosses, that even if we cannot directly help in a situation, we're always trying to find out how we can connect. And I think that is what I want to be one of the things that I leave if I do ever leave that office or continue to work in politics, is just to continue to connect. The city of Detroit has so much potential, and the residents of Detroit have so much potential, and we just have to, like you've been saying this entire show, connect. Like there has to be a level of connectivity, and we have to all collectively be on the same page and have the same access. Otherwise, it'll never work.
So, last two questions, y'all. I'm thinking about, because one of the things, Detroit is always getting compared to other big cities in the country. We always getting compared to places like Chicago, and we always getting compared to places like Atlanta, you know what I'm saying, LA, New York. We are a international city. Yes. Okay, meaning like our borders over here, this Detroit River, Belle Isle, we're looking at Canada every time. Like, and people don't even realize that Detroit is about to be an international model. I don't think people really understand, like when we're looking at this development and how they came into downtown and redeveloped our central business district, and how this has trickled out, and how now we're even looking at how private and public dollars are being used to make things happen. Like all of these things that are happening, people are watching us every day, and it's not just cities here, because people don't even realize that Detroit is one of the last major cities in the United States to be developed. Yeah. And that's intentional, right? But we're also one of the most segregated cities in the states. That's intentional. So when we start thinking about internationally, globally, how do y'all feel like we measuring up? Because y'all already kind of hit on it, where we traveling now, we starting to see similarities. Like, all right, we got these little transportation models, we out here on our little scooters now. You know what I'm saying? What do y'all think? I mean, are y'all traveling internationally to even be able to compare, or are y'all hearing these in your conversations politically? Like, how do y'all feel like we're measuring up on a global scale? Because people talking about Detroit, not just here. They talking about Detroit everywhere. And somebody else talked about it earlier about who buying up this land. It's not even people from here. It be people from China.
Oh, yeah.
They be buying up.
Right,
so globally, Detroit is something to talk about. I just want to get real quick, like a little feel on how.
I got one thing. I'm gonna just say Amazon. So I will say we're not measuring up for that very reason. There is no reason that Detroit was not one of the final 2 or 3 cities to get that bid for Amazon. And hearing some of the reasons why, being it the lack of public transportation, the lack of education, and this is all for the employees. So they didn't feel like they could send their kids to a good school, so they didn't want to have the headquarters here. They didn't feel like they could walk or just take the bus or subway or whatever to get to work. The parking downtown sucks. Like everything downtown with having to do with transportation is not conducive for certain type of businesses. And so the fact that we didn't get the Amazon bid shows me that we're not measuring up. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it just shows us, again, like Omar said, we just have work to do. It's possible, but that Amazon bid showed us where we have to grow and what we need to do in order to level up to be a major international city, a functioning international city.
I haven't traveled out the country in a minute, and so I still stand on we do have work to do. But I am excited for like the tech scene, you know, and that's international in the fact that technology is global. But Detroit is on the verge of becoming a startup city. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we got Silicon Valley and we got Austin, Texas that's doing this thing, but Detroit is moving into that direction. I think a lot of the innovations that's going on here will propel us into a city that's like known for our innovations. Like even what we did with the music scene back in the day, Motown, and what we did with the automotive industry, like we always been known for innovation in certain industries, right? So we headed towards this new digital revolution. I think Detroit will be a factor in that. It just like my boy Drew said the other day, like Detroit still got work to do. Like we still in the early adoption days of a lot of different things. So we just gotta keep an eye on it. But as far as technology, I think we're heading in the right direction to be a competitor globally. But you know, we just still in the beta phase. I feel. You know.
Yes, I haven't traveled out, you know, recently or anything like that, but I do feel like we are on that great cusp of greatness because people are watching us. I just hope that there's inclusivity when they're looking at us, that, you know, representation matters, and I think the world is watching us. I just want to make sure that, and people often get me when I say this, real Detroiters are reflected in that, you know, and that we have a voice and that we're being seen.
Yeah, I think if anything is being recognized internationally, it's like the advocacy work, aside from the like innovation and like the comeback. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the iDetroit project, but like this English guy, he came and he's doing like a human atlas of the city, and it's just all these black people and like recognizing 100 black people who are influential, and just has been working and doing groundwork work. So I think from that aspect, if we are known from anything globally, it would be like advocacy work and the grassroots stuff that people have been doing.
Not to mention, like, the art scene here has been recognized by United Nations. Like, we're a destination. Like, we're official.
We're a UNESCO city.
Yeah, so, like...
And that stands for United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization.
Talk
I was about to talk about it
Talk
because
to
I
them,
just
cuz.
applied for Detroit 139.
Yeah.
And that has something to do with the UNESCO city. And we're the only one in the United States, by the way.
Yeah, so, I mean... And then, like even I was a part of a Makerspace, a black-owned digital fabrication lab, Insight Focus. They're a global network, and they're like the hosting city for the United States as well. So it's like the Wakanda reference was so spot on. It's a lot of things going on. We just don't know about it.
Yeah.
Like it's just gonna take some time. That's all it is. It's just gonna take some time. But like we out here.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely. And I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
The Detroit 139, they're going to be doing an exhibition in September. Fingers crossed. I submitted a project, but you know how the city be.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just thinking about that, like globally, we are being recognized in a lot of ways. There are some areas, though, I feel like one of the areas we need to catch up in is the sustainability realm. I think that we're not
Green
doing
city,
a lot of stuff with, I mean, it's happening though. Like there are spaces, like one of my professors owns a space, whole building is alternative energy. And they're looking at those type of things, or even reuse. How are we using our work? Like just thinking about like solar energy, alternative energy, even sustainability with our design and how we even produce certain buildings. Like it's just a lot that we can be doing in comparison to especially to places like Europe who have, I mean, they have green buildings where like it's areas inside the building that have green spaces because they're helping to revitalize and to preserve certain energy. You know what I'm saying? Like we have to start thinking like that too. And last question of the day, Detroit in the next 5 to 10 years, what y'all think it's gonna look like? All right, quick.
Okay.
Quick.
So no, I see more growth. I see more growth. I see the Hudson project being completed. That's gonna bring a whole another bag to the city. In terms of like business and like just the city thriving in itself. We're gonna be in a different light. You know, we're gonna do like 2020 is gonna do something different anyway.
Yeah.
But I feel like in the next decade we're gonna be a city that's gonna be known for automotive innovations because at that point the automated vehicle is gonna be out by then. You know,
Test ground is over in, I want to say, Southwest area.
Yeah, so like,
supposedly.
so
supposed
it's
to-
gonna be
Waymo.
interesting to see. It's gonna be interesting to see. The tech scene is gonna be flourishing. We're gonna have some powerful entrepreneurs making some incredible innovations with their like products and services. It just like I said, like we just at the beginning stages, so
Yep.
I can't really pinpoint exactly, but it's gonna be better than what it is if we continue to move how we moving right now.
Okay.
A little optimism.
Yes, I definitely see
trying.
growth. But I also see a lot of old school organizing coming back. We really need to tackle our education. I feel like, another thing that Amazon, didn't want to come here is because they felt like we weren't educationally prepared. And so we're going to have to, make sure that not one school, but all schools have, better education. We're going to have to work on our mobility so that the 80% of black Detroit, 80% of Detroiters, are working and that they can get to work, that they can get to, school or hospitals and things like that. But I definitely see us growing. I definitely see us, getting better. I don't know if the district will be finished by then. We'll see. But I definitely feel like we are on the right track.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I have a lot of optimism, and I think also like the motives may be tainted, but I think all these white people gonna come and they gonna want their kids to go to school. So I think the education is gonna change, and I think like the motive is not right, but I think I think it's gonna be different. And actually working for an education justice group now, like I think of that too. And I also see those conversations between like different ethnicities happening, saying like what do we want to go together and collectively.
For me, I see the rest of the city of Detroit awakening. So there will be a point in time when everything that we're talking about at this table, our grandmothers, great-grandmothers, if they're still here, older aunts and uncles will finally listen to us, and they will finally see that what we're saying is not crazy, it's not far-fetched, like it can really happen. So I see every single thing that we have sat here and discussed today, I see it all happening.
Yeah, for sure.
For me, next 5 to 10 years, I'm definitely hoping to see some improvements educationally. I'm so with you. I think that is something that's going to make or break the city. And lastly, infrastructure development. Like it has to happen.
Please.
You can put all the shiny buildings you want, but if you can't use the water, eventually you're going to have to tear it down.
Or the streets are
bars.
flooding, and you
so-
can't get on the freeway.
So I think that there's going to have to be a lot of like infrastructure development that's going to have to take place, and people are going to have to be very intentional about how we're developing in the city. And so we're into my favorite part of the show. I keep telling y'all every episode, I do not mess with regular people, okay? And so I want everybody to take their time right now to go around the table, introduce yourself, let the people know what you're doing. If you got anything extra you wanted to add onto the conversation, feel free to do it.
I'm first. Okay, well, again, thank you, Kenya, for having me be on today. My name is Jackie. I am the digital media director for Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence, representative of Michigan's 14th Congressional District, as well as a freelance makeup artist who will have an appointment with Ms. Ken after
Hello.
this.
All right.
So, yeah, follow my Instagram, _Jackie with 4 E's, _O. My makeup Instagram is at the Glam Corner.
My name is Dana Wilson. I am a rising sophomore at the University of Michigan. My major is philosophy, politics, and economics with a minor in art and design.
Yes, ma'am.
And I also write for the newspaper. We have no publishers right now, but you can check it out, the Michigan Daily. I'm a columnist. And I'm a Detroiter. I love Detroit.
All right. Y'all got the youth spotlight back. First episode.
I'm Deanne Austin, and I am a transit organizer. I'm also a community organizer as well, and I'm doing some cool stuff with Detroit Future City. I'm a Land and Water Works ambassador. We're using GSI to help teach residents about preserving their land and their water and checking that drainage fee because they are getting over on some of us, well, a lot of us. And so I'm really excited to be teaching, my fellow Detroit residents about making sure we have sustainable communities. Again, I'm Mogo Bike Share. They're coming to Livernois. So if you're not into bike riding, you better learn. It's going to be the new wave. We got e-bikes coming. No, I'm not with Bird. We don't do the same thing, but, it's good for, young people to be mobile and get around. And also, I have an event this upcoming Tuesday. It's going to be at the Ford Resource Engagement Center, July 16th from 5:30 to 7:30. I will be speaking on a panel of affordable transportation and car dependency. So you come on out. You can check me out on Instagram at Detroit Transit SJ. The SJ stands for social justice, and that's why I have social justice ADHD. I've never felt, I always find a new project and want to be involved. And I just want to congratulate Ken on this season. This season was amazing. And, like I said, I feel like you're my best friend in my head. It's good to find, mentors that are doing stuff in the community that you look up to. So I'm just excited. I can't wait for the next season.
Mm-hmm.
And I am Omar Dismuke II. I'm a brand architect, designer, content creator, digital marketer. You can reach me at DismukeII on Instagram, DisMukeii. I'm co-owner of a conscious streetwear brand, The Aware Brand. Check us out at theawarebrand.com. And you can check us out at The Aware Brand on Instagram. And I'm out here, my goal is to connect people and to provide value to individuals, businesses, and help them grow and reach their true potential, help them find their purpose. Let's connect. Appreciate you, Kenya.
It's been another episode of PoliticKen. You can catch this on Facebook. Also follow me on Instagram. The Instagram is PolitikKen. I see. Hold on, wait. Did I spell it right? PolitikKen. Why am I doing that? Like I don't say it all the time, right? Trying to get it quick. But you can also follow us on Facebook, PoliticKen Out, and you can also follow my business page, which is Kinship on Instagram. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. It's been real.
Bye.
Peace.
You guys are great.